I know you know this, but your new life is going to cost you your old life. And we hear that and we can comprehend that, but it looks so different in the moment when it actually comes down to making those hard decisions, to letting go of those things that are holding us in the old paradigm. So hello, I'm here back in my forest spot with my doggies, Aslan, Arlo. Duchess is in the house that we're staying in. Duchess is my kitty. Right now I'm back and forth with, I'm in Ireland, did I say that? I'm back and forth with mechanics trying to find the right solution for this tricky van that I have. And it's so interesting. It's like every person, mechanic, friend of mechanic, car dealership man who knows mechanics, like everyone. Sorry, my dog's just freaked out for seeing another dog, which they don't normally do. But today we're excited, I guess. So these mechanics, everybody involved in the situation is like, that person's lying to you, that person has a bad reputation, that mechanic is lying, they are gonna steal your van, and it's like non-stop distortion of truth, non-stop like psychological stuff of like, I just want my gearbox fixed. Like, it's so tricky. And so it's so much more than just this experience of trying to have the gearbox fixed. And so I've been going deep into this surrender, into whatever it is that has been manifesting. He's sitting on me. He's such a big baby. Oh yes, you're such a good protector. My hero. My guardian. Wow. It's been this deep journey where I've had to surrender and say, you know, God, show me the truth in this. Bring the highest truth through any distortion of truth. Guide me to the easiest solution. What I've seen unfolding in this is that I feel strongly that I just had to have it happen this way, because it happened once in my life before where I knew I was in the void, even though I was in a home that I didn't want to be in. I had moved in there without really checking out the area, and my friend and I just really wanted to leave. It felt unsafe, all this stuff. And I knew that I was divinely protected, and I just had to wait until the right thing opened up. The right thing that opened up was my dream house that I got to live in for a year and a half in California. And so right now, what has opened up in this void, in this waiting, in this van not being able to be fixed by anybody, and all these layers of the psychological experience and everything, it has been, so I think, so that this house could open up that I just got approved for in Portugal, that I'm moving into, potentially, most likely, in a week or so. And so it just seems really perfect for everything that I need, that my animals need, the yard, the space, the view, the everything. Everything seems really in alignment with what I need right now. And so I see that all had to happen in order to get me to this place. And now that I'm in this place of actually like seeing the way out, you know, things are starting to line up with all these mechanics and the drama of the mechanics. They're all kind of figuring it out. Today, it seems, things are starting to open up. Like the exit plan is being formed and being created. Everything is being finalized for the house. It's like it's all falling into place, which is so wonderful. In this, it's so interesting. I've had the urge and the calling to continue letting go of everything, that like these micro things, these micro beliefs, these micro attachments that have been holding me in this old timeline, these distortions of truth, these like distortions of worthiness, of love, of abundance. Really letting those go, really surrendering, really like cutting emotional ties with people that I know are not in alignment with the version of me who not just like lives in Portugal, but like who is living in Portugal. Like it's a new chapter. It's a new version of myself. And so that's what happens when we step into the new timeline, when we move, when we travel, when we start a new job, when we finally leave whatever it is that we had to leave. And that's the thing, is that you have to leave whatever it is. If it's holding you back and it's not in alignment, and your higher self, your high, not like your higher self, like your truth, but like the timeline version of you who has everything that you desire, your dream life, like what many of you guys are programming in Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis. If you want to sign up for that, it's linked down below. It's still $29. It's where you get to unravel the subconscious blocks that are still in your way. And it's so interesting as you go through. I think that I've gone through all these like distortions of truth and all these things in my perceived reality right now as I'm doing Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, so that I can experience. It's like someone had just asked me this in my Q&A on Instagram. They're like, how do you balance your inside and your outside world? And I just said, like, my outside world is what triggers the depth that I get to experience on my inner journey. So it's like something happens, right, in the outside world, and then that triggers whatever is on the inside and allows me to go deeper in there. And then when we go deeper in there, that shifts our outside world. And so these life experiences are happening right now as I'm listening to my evolved sleep hypnosis, as I've updated a little bit. And it allows me to penetrate those blocks and those beliefs, those distortions deeper and deeper and deeper. And how wild is it that I started listening to this and started programming this in, like a month ago, whenever we started this. And now I'm moving to a 3-bedroom home with an ocean view in Portugal, and it's going to be like such a beautiful new chapter. And so what's interesting, as we start to unravel these subconscious blocks and we start to get clear on what we want, when we start to actually step into that new timeline and begin to have that breakthrough, is that it becomes much easier to see what and who is not serving you anymore. You probably already know, but like sometimes we know that the person is not right for us, the job is not right for us, the living situation is not right for us, but we're still called to it. And I'm a very big advocate still of like, even if, so it's a tough one, but like even if you know that person is not good for you, right? In general sense, it's like if they're really, really bad for you, avoid them. But like if they're not the one, but you are feeling that chemistry, that pull to them, that irresistible pull. What I experienced with this a few times, especially in my Saturn return these past few years and working with my therapist, was that I would notice that pull, I would notice that connection, that chemistry, and even though in my mind I was like, no, this is a red flag, this is not the person for me, this is not the thing for me, I would still trust myself to go towards it, because if that charge is there and I'm moving away from it without actually blowing out that flame, then it still lives in me and it will show up again and again and again. And so I went on this journey. Sorry, I think there's like spiders in my hair. That's the price that I'm paying to sit in this beautiful spot. So apparently there's no poisonous spiders. I don't know. Irish people, my Irish family seems to say things that are just not always accurate. But anyway, what was he saying now? Oh yes. So I trusted myself to go towards those things with awareness and with the light, to explore what it was that I was being pulled to and called to, so that I could learn. Like, for example, I love the farm in Italy. I love it there. I love my horses. I love Zima. I love my farm family. But energetically, a lot of like psychics and stuff, and some of you would reach out and say, I just feel like your time has ended there. And for a while I knew that it was ending, at least, in that way that it was, but I didn't feel that end yet. I still felt that chemistry there, even though I knew it was coming to an end. So there is this like limbo time that we're in when we're getting ready to leave something, when we know something is no longer for us, or even when we're being pulled to something that we know is not for us. But if there's still that charge, there's still that connection, I feel that we are meant to be there, sit there, bring the truth through the distortions, the truth through the illusions. And then when you see the door open, you're working with your divine team, you're saying, open the door that is meant for me for my highest good, close the doors that are no longer meant for me for my highest good. And you're continuing to experience and to alchemize, I don't know how else to explain this. You go into that relationship, that connection with that person to see why that chemistry is there, to see their patterns in this version of yourself. Maybe they're a very manipulative person and you experienced that in the past and you would get lost in that in the past, but now you have the knowledge, the wisdom, the truth to see through those illusions when you're around those kinds of people. And so perhaps you're meant to experience them at that level so that you can finally a lot of brain rewiring is evidence. So you have to give your mind evidence for it to really let go of the old way of the old loop, really, the old attraction, the old chemistry, the old familiar cycle. And so it's okay if you are still in that undesired, but you see that you are about to leave. Just lean into who your chosen timeline self is, what they would choose. Bring that into the moment that you're in right now. See through that lens. See through the lens of the highest truth. And then eventually it's so easy to finally give your mind that evidence that you no longer need this timeline, you no longer need this cycle, you no longer need this karmic agreement. You bring the truth through. So forgiveness ends karma from the law of one. That's the only way to end karma is what the law of one says. But the real truth of forgiveness is that there's no such thing as forgiveness. Forgiveness is just seeing the truth in someone or something. So because if we're all one infinite consciousness, then there's nothing to forgive, right? And so in order to end these cycles that are holding you back from really stepping into this new timeline, and the things, in order to end these things that are holding you back, the version of you that you no longer can be in order to be in that timeline, you have to bring the truth through. And so it's this alchemist journey, and it's not that complicated. These are just a few ways of putting words to it. But you're probably in some one or another, the relationship, the friendship, the job, the living situation, or something of the sort like that. And keep inviting that identity shift into this, and then it'll be so easy as you hold that vibration, that frequency. That's when you start quantum leaping and stepping out of the void and into the new timeline. The door opens up and you will just feel it. You will feel that it no longer fits with you anymore. And then having the courage to just make that quick decision of finally severing that tie, cutting that cord, and letting go. And that's what allows you to step fully into the new timeline. And so I think that right now, if this video found you, you're in a period of letting go, of, in a sense, killing that old version of yourself. It's such an intense way of saying it, but putting that old version of yourself to rest. They no longer have to do that anymore. In brain retraining, when I teach brain retraining to you guys in 21 days to regulate or 21 days to rewire your mind, or any of my programs are rooted in neuroplasticity. There's a part of you that there's a step in this where you have to acknowledge that your limbic system has the maturity of a 3-year-old, yet they're making all the calls of how you respond to the world. Your experience of Earth depends on your nervous system. It depends on how you've been wired, how your brain has been wired. And so as this 3-year-old is making all the calls based off of your experiences before. And so we can say thank you so much for trying to protect me in the best way that you knew how. But, this is the new program. And so the more that you wire in and practice, it's all about consistency of visiting that chosen timeline self, of making that your normal, of holding that vision no matter what. So neurons that fire together, wire together. So you're experiencing that undesired, and you are then bringing in your higher self, your chosen timeline self, as like a feeling, a knowing, an emotion, an experience in your body does not know the difference of what your mind is visualizing. So your mind is visualizing biting into the lemon, your body reacts, you know, your mouth starts salivating. It's the same thing as you're in this reality of, you know, being around a manipulative person, or being in a season of lack, or being in surrounded in a living situation that feels not where you want to be. But you are mentally rehearsing being that chosen timeline version of yourself. In that, you start to rewire the experience. You start to alchemize the experience. And then those choices that you actually have to make in this perceived reality with your mind become so clear and so easy to see. Because with reticular activating system, your brain only can process so much information, a very, very, very small percentage of what's actually the information that's actually available to you. But when you start rehearsing that and visiting your chosen timeline self and clearing those blocks, you start changing your brain, your reticular activating system, to see the opportunities that are in alignment with your higher self. That, you know, so I'm practicing every night. I'm practicing my dream life sleep hypnosis. I'm listening to my dream life sleep hypnosis. I'm visually rehearsing being in my chosen timeline self in the daytime. Like, I'm constantly always brain retraining whenever I experience a distortion of truth, something undesired. And so that allows me to see the opportunity, to feel the urge to, you know, like the way that Portugal came about. I've explained it a few times, but if you're new here, I was in this middle of like figuring out what I want to do, trying to figure out the van, kind of like still in the void, trying to see like what the next thing is, looking at houses in Italy, like, okay, Italy is the thing I'm going to do, not live on the farm, get a house. But then I saw a photo of Hawaii. Some girl that I follow, she posted a video or photo of Hawaii, and I was like, wow, that's beautiful. I had that urge, that inner urge, that like generator urge, but we all get it. It was like a feeling in my gut, feeling in my body. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be somewhere like that. I was like, but I can't move, you know, my animals to Hawaii right now. It's too big of a thing for them. So I was like, I don't know where it is. Show me where it is. And then 10 minutes later, I opened Instagram to a photo of my friends in Portugal, which looked in that photo so similar to Hawaii. And then I started reaching out to my friends in Portugal, and they told me all these different places I would like living. They connected me with a bunch of people. They put me in these group chats. It happened so quickly. And then I started doing more research, and I was like, this is exactly the kind of place that I've been looking for in Europe, with healthy food, yoga, and like all the stuff. And it just was like boom, 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 boom. And I started noticing more and more and more. Found a house. It was great. Applied, great, approved, mine. Like, it just was like boom, 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 boom. So quick, because clearing the blocks, clearing the noise, bringing in my chosen timeline self, wiring that in with my reality now, even with the mechanics and the blah, 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 and the just like the, I don't know how to explain it here, but it's where I am right now in Ireland. It's like no one speaks my language. No one speaks my language. Like, we are in completely different worlds when we're in conversation. And so I can't ever force or even possibly get someone to speak my language in this kind of dynamic. And so I have to like go to the world that they're in and have those kinds of conversations just to kind of like move through the time, which is its own experience, and that's beautiful too. But in that, you know, the truth of who I am has been existing in this other realm with just myself, and and it doesn't feel so isolating or lonely. It's fine, and like she's alive and well, but she's ready to be out of this experience. But what that really takes is being in those experiences and those conversations while also keeping her charge and her activation alive, and mentally being with her and in that expansiveness, and like remembering all that, and remembering what it feels like to be surrounded by, you know, soul tribe and people who truly understand that world. And so it's this place where you have to sometimes be in those conversations, but also be in the energy of where you desire to be. And through that wiring, you then start opening up the opportunities that bring you there. And that's how you change your reality. That's how you quantum leap. That's how you change your whole life. So the old version of you, they have to go. It will be a natural progression if you do these steps. And I know this is a lot, but I think if you're here with me right now, a lot of you really followed and really understand. So let me know in the comments if it landed. I love you guys. I'm so grateful to have you here. If you want to sign up for Dream Life Sleep Hypnosis, it's linked below. Or 21 days to anything, rewire your mind, know your divine guidance, healed for chronic illness, which is 21 days to regulate, and anything else. Go check them out if you feel called to it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully tomorrow I have some news about the gearbox. All right, guys. I say bye. Bye, Arslana. Bye, Arlo. Bye, guys.